Let's walk through several important account and permission concepts you'll need to recognize for the Security Plus exam. These concepts commonly appear in questions involving access control, permissions management, operating systems, and enterprise security administration. The key is understanding who controls the resource, who manages the system, who shares permissions, and which actions are performed automatically by the operating system itself. We'll begin with administrator accounts, because these are some of the most powerful accounts inside an environment. If a scenario describes managing systems, changing configurations, installing software, resetting passwords, or controlling security settings, you are dealing with an administrator account. Administrator accounts have elevated privileges that allow broad system management. For example, imagine a company help desk technician needs to install security updates, create employee accounts, modify firewall settings, or reset passwords. Those actions typically require administrator privileges. A common exam trap is confusing administrators with owners. Administrators manage systems. Owners control resources and data. Now let's transition into owners, because this distinction is heavily tested. If the question describes the individual or department responsible for determining who can access data or resources, you are dealing with the owner. Owners decide access permissions and data classification. For example, imagine a company finance department stores sensitive payroll spreadsheets on a shared server. The finance director may be considered the owner of the data because they decide who can access the files, who can modify them, and how sensitive the information is. The system administrator may technically maintain the server, but the owner controls the business use and access decisions. The key phrase is, controls access decisions for the resource. Now let's move into groups, because this is one of the most common access management concepts in enterprise environments. If a scenario describes assigning permissions to multiple users at once instead of individually, you are dealing with groups. Groups simplify permission management. For example, instead of manually granting printer access to 50 accounting employees one at a time, administrators may place all accounting employees into an accounting group. Permissions are then assigned to the group itself. This allows organizations to manage permissions much more efficiently. A common exam trap is confusing groups with roles. Groups are collections of users. Roles commonly describe job responsibilities or access functions. Now let's transition into system accounts. If the question describes background processes, automated operating system functions, or services running without normal user interaction, you are dealing with system accounts. System accounts allow operating systems and applications to perform automated tasks securely. For example, database services, backup applications, security monitoring tools, and update services often run using dedicated system accounts instead of normal user accounts. This allows the services to function continuously even when no employee is logged in. The key phrase to recognize is automated operating system or service activity. A common exam trap is assuming system accounts belong to human users. System accounts are generally used by operating systems, applications, background services, rather than individual employees. Now let's connect these concepts together using a real-world example. Imagine a company payroll system. The payroll director is the owner because they decide who should access payroll records. The IT administrator manages the server, installs updates, and maintains security configurations. Accounting employees may belong to a payroll group that provides shared permissions to payroll resources. Meanwhile, backup services running overnight may use system accounts to automatically perform secure backups of payroll data. Each account type has a different responsibility inside the environment. Now let's bring everything together using recognition patterns. If the question describes managing systems or security settings, think administrator. If it describes controlling access decisions for data or resources, think owner. If it describes assigning permissions to collections of users, think group. And if it describes automated background services or operating system functions, think system accounts. The most important takeaway is understanding the role each one plays. Administrators manage systems. Owners control resources and access decisions. Groups simplify permission management. And system accounts allow automated services and operating systems to function securely. If you can recognize those distinctions and connect them to real-world enterprise environments, you'll be able to eliminate incorrect answers quickly and confidently identify the correct concept on the exam.